Hey everyone, it's January 14th, 2021. That's Jason,
That's Pete.
and this is the JPEX podcast.
Here we go. All right, we are recording now.
We're live.
Uh, yes, at some
Sure,
point in
We'll,
time.
we'll do it live.
Yes, never gets old.
That's gonna live on. That's already. That had to have happened 25 years ago or
He was
longer.
he was still on primetime
Yeah, he
tabloid
was a
TV,
young guy,
youngish.
and yeah, I mean it's only getting funnier if anything, you know.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, he's not. He's not.
I mean, there's people that weren't even born when that event actually happened that
Mhm.
understand the reference.
Yeah.
It's that big of a thing. You know, we'll do it live.
Mm-hmm. Yep. No, it's not. It's not leaving. It'll be one of his legacies.
One of yeah.
I think I did. You used to watch? I mean, I'm sure you watched it when he and Colbert would have their little back and forths.
Oh
Hey,
yeah, when like Stephen Colbert was like, you have any idea? I have any idea how difficult it is to, to pretend to be you? Or,
oh my god, that was
and he
great.
called him on the carpet,
Hmm.
which was true because back in the day when they were doing the I can't remember if he wasn't Second City. He was Groundlings. Was it Groundlings where he got to start?
I think it was Groundlings. I think it was, but I mean,
Because that's where Upright Citizens Brigade came out of, right?
yeah, I think
And
so.
that's where he
That
was.
was he was part of that, right?
Yeah, he was him, Steve Carell.
Hmm.
I think Amy Poehler was part of it.
That's
Bunch
right.
of bunch of others.
Is that now? That's
But
not.
but back in the day, he was Stephen Colbert.
Hmm. Yeah.
And you talk to anybody who grew up with him, it's Stephen Colbert. He started using the name Colbert because he was making a persona for the Daily Show,
Yep.
and now he just you know he's left the persona behind, but he's kept the pronunciation. Which
I mean, it's just what you. I guess once you establish a stage name or a screen name or whatever, is you got to kind of roll with it, right?
uh, yeah,
Okay, what's his name? What's the big famous uh, PewDiePie? His name is Felix, but he's
right.
predominantly known as PewDiePie.
Hmm.
I guess once you, The Rock has been able to change it. The Rock has been able to become Dwayne Johnson, um, for like screens.
He had a few other persona names early on in his wrestling career,
You're right. Gosh,
but yeah, he was. I mean, he made the name as The Rock,
mhm. When I
and
first heard about him, he was still going by. Oh, I think it was Rocky Maivia. Was that it?
uh,
Maybe.
I'd have to look that up.
Yeah. Well, it's not that important. I mean,
Uh, so yeah, but full circle. We'll do it live.
yeah.
It's weird. I work with uh, this guy. He's a good tech, solid worker,
Yeah.
knows his stuff. He is younger than The Simpsons.
I mean, at one point that would be something, but
Hmm.
Simpsons like
Yeah,
30.
that's like almost not a big deal anymore.
Yeah.
Hmm. Dropped one of my vitamin C's. So, but so what else? We had a couple of topics that we cut ourselves off on.
Yeah.
Oh, Victor Stone.
Yeah. Um,
I want a Victor Stone origin.
yeah. Me too. I
Uh, I want I want him to have his own movie.
hmm
and I want at least a good 5 or 10 minutes of him, like in his early high school career. Because in addition, like you mentioned, he's crazy smart, but he was also like an Olympic level athlete across the board.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't just football; it was like track and field and everything.
Yeah. We were talking about that earlier because the news came out that he has been removed from the Flash movie, which has been in production hell for the past 8 years.
Which is stupid.
It really is, because they had good chemistry, and that was one of the few bright spots we had talked about. Is one of the few bright spots in the Justice League movie was the Flash Cyborg dynamic. But I think the guy's name is Hamada.
Well, they're that producer jerk.
Yeah,
But yeah, they're. I mean, as far as the movie lineup goes, they're the kids. You know, they're the two whippersnappers. I mean,
Yep.
Clark Kent and Bruce Wayne are very well into their late 30s, early 40s, give or take. You know, Wonder Woman's like 1,000. So, and
It's like reverse Edward Cullen.
and Aquaman, Arthur Curry, he's probably up there. He's probably knocking on 42. He's probably in his mid 30s, maybe early 30s.
Yeah, I don't, do Atlanteans, they age different, or are they just like people?
I think they grow up just as fast as humans, but I think they're long lived as long as they don't get murdered, or whatever.
It's like,
So yeah, everybody's in their 30s and 40s, and then you got Victor Stone and Barry Allen. This incarnation of Barry Allen,
yeah, what'd you think of that incarnation of Barry Allen?
If they wanted a kid, they should have gone Wally West.
I agree.
If they wanted him to be, I mean, the way they played him, it was interesting, was a good character, but it wasn't really Barry Allen. Barry Allen was always kind of a kind of uptight, bumbling. I don't want to say stick in the mud, but he wasn't the life of the party.
He was
Whereas,
a nerd. He was a nerd.
where Wally West was, he was Barry Allen's a nerd, Wally West is a geek.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Because what is it? Nerds got brains, geeks have brains and a personality.
Just enough of a personality, yeah.
So yeah, they could have gone with Wally West. I would have been happy. I mean, they did it for the whole Justice League and Justice League Unlimited run. For 4 years, that was Wally West.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And they never really I don't think they ever much talked about Barry Allen through all of that.
Nope, they just kind of went with it.
So yeah, should have been Wally West. And I want I want John Stewart, Green Lantern. I want Idris Elba to do that so bad.
He would be amazing at that.
Can we just? I'll give you the next 5 birthday wishes if we can just make that happen. Because I can close my eyes and see it.
Are you following any of the Snyder Cut stuff?
No.
Okay. I read something yesterday. I didn't read the full article. Read just a little bit of it. I can keep quiet or I can mention it. What do you want me to do?
We're gonna talk. Let's talk.
Supposedly they got Martian Manhunter.
Really? So that was that flash of green?
No. Well, I don't know if they're referencing that, but they've. Let me find his name here because I recognize the actor.
Martian Manhunter's been done in live action before.
I saw that travesty. I did. In fact, somewhere
that was asking David Ogden Stiers, what in the world were you thinking?
It was a paycheck. It was a paycheck.
I mean, had he not done any work since MASH?
I don't know, but oh my gosh, that was, yeah, man, that was something. The guy who played Green Lantern in that Justice, I don't know if it was Justice Society or whatever, that Justice.
No, it was Justice League.
That Justice League was, Matthew Settle, I think, because he was in Band of Brothers. Did you see Band of Brothers?
Mm-hmm.
He was Lieutenant Spears.
No shit.
Yeah, no, a friend I had at an old job. They were like message board buddies or something like that. Um, gosh, why can't I find this now? It's so annoying. But yeah, it was one of those things where it's like, hey, it's a job. Why would I not? Why would I say no? And this was all, pre MCU kind of stuff. But
the big bad in that was Weather Wizard, I believe.
oh God, you're right. Yes, it was Weather Wizard.
Who was played by Miguel Ferrer, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, the big bad battle scene involved him like summoning a hurricane over some city, and so you had Fire and Ice,
Mm-hmm.
you had the Atom, Ray Palmer, you had I think it was the Barry Allen Flash, and some weird amalgam of Green Lantern.
Yeah, because
I think they called him Hal.
they did, but
his costume was Guy Gardner.
yes, and his personality was more Guy Gardner than Hal.
Yeah.
I was not impressed.
Yeah. So here's this big, here's the big, big climactic battle scene. Everybody in the city's in danger. Fire saved half the people in the city by vaporizing the hailstones before they could hit the ground.
Yeah.
The Flash saved everybody else by running in the opposite direction and dissipating the hurricane. Green Lantern saved one woman and was hitting on her the entire time.
Yep.
And for some reason had to make a helicopter.
Yes,
had to make a green light helicopter in order to fly. He looked like I'm Mary Poppins, y'all.
Yeah, but he was like super slowly going up. You could tell. Okay, I mean,
I think there was a telephone pole that was going to fall on her or something. So he caught the pole and then went and grabbed her around the waist and flew her away. And so he saves one person. Fire saves half of the people. Flash saves the other half, and the Atom saved a cat.
I think it was a cat. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was.
He saved a cat by going underneath like some front porch stairs and going, here, kitty, kitty, kitty.
You're right. Yeah, and they had like all the special effect technology that we have at our disposal right now doing this thing. Is like there's like some really bad green screen and other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Harry Lennox is going to be playing Martian Manhunter. I don't think this will work, but I'll try. That's not going to show up well at all. That was a bad idea. I'll just text it to you.
Well,
no?
He was already in Man of Steel.
Oh, okay.
He was the top military guy.
Okay, so
in Man of Steel. And other than that, I think he's probably most recognizable from the second two Matrix movies.
Yeah. Gosh darn it, Morpheus. When will you understand that? Not everyone believes what you believe, or however he says it. And he's like, something like my beliefs do not require them to, or something like that. Those movies got weird.
Yeah, that was what we were talking about last time, like movies that shouldn't have been made.
Oh, yeah. Honestly...
sequels that didn't need to happen.
I mean, I wanted a second and third, and maybe even a fourth Matrix, but I didn't want those second and third Matrix
The first movie was so tight, though.
The first movie was fantastic.
It was wrapped up so tight.
Mm-hmm. It was, I mean, honestly, it falls under, without it being a stupid, massive franchise that it became, it was very much close to a perfect movie. I mean, close to a perfect cult movie. I mean, it was good. Like, you're right, it was like, all the story parts and elements worked, and at the end it was done, but with room to go if they wanted to. Just kind of wish.
No, it definitely left room for much post-film discussion.
Yeah.
As far as what next.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like what is Neo gonna do? What can't he do?
Yeah, really.
I mean, they had him. He was like what, telekinetic Superman. I don't know what else would
Um,
you call him?
well, but he's not invincible. He could be killed. That's the thing. That's
Hmm.
the hard part. I mean, and this has always been my thing with Superman. He's so hard to write for. So either you run out of ideas or you make him the villain.
Yeah,
And I hate that kind of crap. Because he can be written for. I mean, there's no secret. He can be written for, and when written for well, it's just like Injustice. Can't stand it. I hate that storyline. You just turn him into Zod. What are you doing? Stop it.
yeah.
But that's just me. I know. Some people. It's a huge franchise. People love Injustice. I don't like it.
Well, one thing that I think DC has always done a little bit better than Marvel,
Hmm.
and it's which is not to say that Marvel is bad at it. I just think DC's a little better. Is the alternate story lines, the
Oh, yeah.
alternate timeline stuff.
Elseworld.
Marvel when Marvel does it, they call it "what if."
Yeah. Hmm.
It's like in quotes, "what if dot 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 question mark," you know,
Yeah.
and they have that. DC calls it Elseworlds,
Hmm.
and yeah, you get storylines like Red Sun,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
sun spelled with an O.
Hmm.
You know, like what happened if Kal-El's ship landed in half the world away, landed in Mother Russia.
Hmm.
There was another one where what if he had landed a few hundred years sooner, and
Is that the Nail storyline?
no, it was going on during the Revolutionary War.
Okay.
Like one of the last frames in that was all of our founding fathers hanging one big giant gallows. Yeah, yeah,
Whoops.
because it's like, oh, you want representation? Okay, and he basically picked up the entire Continental Congress and flew them to Great Britain, where they were stood trial and were executed.
Yikes.
Which is yeah, but then you find out at the end this is all being retold in present day.
Oh,
You know,
wow.
some teachers telling her kids, and that's why to this day the sun still never sets on the British Empire. You know?
That's a good little twist there. What's that storyline called?
Goodness, I don't know.
I'm gonna look
Oof,
that
I
one up.
read it so long ago.
Okay, I'll look for that later. That sounds interesting.
Yeah, and then other things like what if Aben Sur's ring had found Bruce Wayne? You know,
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like giving Batman superpowers is like, ooh, I don't know about that.
hmm
But the Lantern ring would work. I think didn't he have? He didn't have a yellow ring. He had a black ring when they did the different.
Oh, when they did the
This is years ago. Bright Blackest Night. Is that what? Trying to remember what the name of
that's what it was. Yeah,
Blackest Night. Yeah.
that's when they introduced the whole emotional spectrum.
Yeah.
And I think at the time Batman was dead, which is why he got the black ring,
Yeah.
which kind of reanimated him. I think is what the black rings did. I don't know too much about it, but I mean, because originally there was just green
Hmm.
and one yellow ring, no yellow battery. That was something that came along in the Guy Gardner storyline, where he went, was kicked out of the Green Lantern Corps, and it wasn't. It was like they weren't sure if they wanted to make him like the Punisher,
Was that
like
Arsenal?
some big anti-hero. Yeah. So he's all he's all got guns
Hmm.
and grenade launchers and everything, and it was just one full page panel saying, "Call me the gardener. Somebody's got to cut the weeds."
Oh
Ugh,
wow.
no, thank goodness that lasted like half of an issue, and then
The Gardener.
mhm.
Oh man.
And so the storyline picked up with him teaming up with Lobo,
Lobo. Okay.
and they went, romper stomping across the universe for a while, which apparently humans can survive in outer space if you put a little transparent bubble that covers their mouth and nose.
That's not how that works.
No, no,
Not at
I'm
all.
telling you.
I mean,
Yeah, he was hanging on to the back of Lobo's, space hog,
yeah.
and Lobo's just gunning it, and then they're, light speed. So he's got the physical strength to hold on
No, it
to the
doesn't.
back of a outer space motorcycle as it hits, warp 10.
Well, they're
And
braking. Their what escape velocity is reached, and
yeah,
no chance.
yeah. And at the end of all of it, at the end of that storyline, he ends up having um, some kind of psychic battle of wills with the spirit of Sinestro,
Okay.
and he wins. And this is all happening in the kind of like a mausoleum on Oa where the Guardians are,
Mm-hmm.
and he ends up with Sinestro's ring. So,
I think I recall the part about not needing to be recharged too.
well, he at first, I mean, I think around issue number 2 or 3, it did run out of juice, and it was a bad time for it to run out of juice, and it was also his realization that he had no idea how to recharge it. And then, other superheroes were coming in and, leaving and helping,
Mm-hmm.
and all of a sudden it's got to charge again. And he couldn't figure out how, but it's got to charge, and then it starts to, wane again. And then he eventually figures it out that it actually draws power from Green Lantern, just being in proximity of Green Lantern rings. So because Sinestro was always fighting with Green Lanterns, his ring always had a charge.
Okay.
So, but then they decided they needed the entire Sinestro core, which, and like, this is decades later.
Yeah.
And then, by golly, we need a core for the whole dang rainbow, plus white and black.
Yeah, it sounds like a corporate decision. I mean, this sounds like what was the joke from I think Parks and Rec early on? How do you I don't
It
know.
wasn't bad from a merchandising
Of
standpoint.
course not. I'm sure they made a lot of profit off that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to remember the joke. It was what do you call a horse that's built by committee?
Camel.
There it is, right there. Yeah, I may have messed up the delivery, but you hit the punchline. But you know what I'm saying? It's like this reeks of boardroom meddling.
Mm-hmm.
Um, same with same with the DCEU.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Well, when you take into account the the movie studios wanting to hit the bottom line more than anything, and you introduce crap like focus groups and rewrites that happen as a result of focus groups.
Yeah.
The creative process is getting its legs chopped off.
Yep.
So, I mean, let people make a film. If it's bad, okay.
What was
But
the
now they're looking at bottom line. They're looking for the dollars,
get out by this quarter so I get my
and
bonus?
and the DCEU is turning them a profit. So
Yep. Yeah.
they're not going to learn their lesson until they start losing money.
Yeah. No, there's no incentive to change the way things go as long as they hit the margins. I think it was the critic had the line, "The movie stinks, just don't go," or something to that
Okay.
effect.
Mm.
I'd like to see how things are faring right now with the in-home release stuff, but we probably won't have that data for another year. I like the prospect.
It's weird.
It is weird.
It's weird. I mean, I saw what should have been a major studio release, Wonder Woman 84, and then on opening day I watched it on my phone. So
Yeah.
that says something.
Yeah, it's a little different, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I can't. I don't. Did we talk about that already? The film
What's that?
Wonder Woman '84.
Yeah, we talked about it
Okay.
last week.
Yeah.
It was.
It was all right. It was a movie. I mean, it. Yeah, it could have. I mean, it wasn't.
You know, the one time you wish that a social issue would go and explode in somebody's face, and it doesn't. You know, where the heck
Oh
is the
yeah.
whole Me Too movement when you've got this guy whose physical body gets hijacked
Yeah. What's magic? It doesn't
and
count.
used for sex, and
Yeah, that's what happened.
and you know they're talking magic anyway. Why did they have to bring him in whatsoever? They could have just had they could have just had Steve Trevor show up, you know, Terminator style,
Yeah.
all butt naked, and they wanted the comedy of going through his closet. Okay,
Yeah.
dude showing up naked is hilarious, or it can be,
When done properly. Oh man, they could
Yeah.
have done. They could have done the Austin Powers thing, like just going across town, just every little, just enough.
hmm Plus, there was going to be the whole culture shock thing. I mean, the
Yeah.
comic relief was gonna come easy. Why did they have to introduce this other guy for no reason other than
It could have been a twofold culture shock because you've got him reacting to the '80s and us looking back like, holy crap, that was weird. Look at
Yeah.
that car.
the hair? It's what I remember the most. My God, the hair. I mean,
It
I look in my
was-
high school. I went to high school from '84 through '88, and yeah, like in order to get the entire hairstyle into the picture frame for your senior photo, the girl's face was like this big, in the center,
Yeah.
because they had to zoom out to get the, oh my God, the hair. Just,
That was mid Flock of Seagulls, right?
that was yeah, same time frame, yeah.
Okay. So
And the whole, yeah, like you got the hair dryer in one hand and the like super hold Aquanet in the other, and you shoot the hair dryer straight up one side as you're spraying the hell out of it, and then do the other side, same thing, and now you got the flock of seagulls wings. The other thing I saw, a girl who was a friend of a girl that I was dating actually used gravity boots. You know what those are?
hang upside down.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, she would actually hang upside down, and then comb her hair out so that it was all stick straight up, and then just spray the bejesus out of it, and boom, now it's all. And the teasing. I remember seeing my sister do that teasing, where they grab a hunk of hair and then just start crunch, 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 crunch with a comb.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Crazy
Now
times.
I've never really done much with my hair other than wash it. I like it to be clean, but I remember early on in my Motorola days, back when I had long hair in the back. I used to have long hair. I mean, shoot, I'm getting there. I haven't. I usually grow my beard in the winter, and then around March, April, I'll go and I will shed my winter pelt. Because like around September, I'll stop cutting my hair and I'll stop shaving, and then all winter I have the insulation, and then I will get my first haircut usually, like I said, around March, April.
Yeah.
Well, I went to see my barber in March, and he was on vacation, so it's like, all right, well, I'm gonna, he had the little note taped to the inside of the door. So all right, well, I guess I'll see you in a few weeks. And I went back a few weeks later, and he was closed due to COVID. And I went back a month after that, and he was out of business. I guess he just retired.
Wow.
So I have not had a haircut or a decent shave since like September of 2018.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I gave up, and I just, you saw I started shaving mine. So
It's a way to go.
honestly, it's kind of freeing. I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to get up and
Yeah.
worry about fixing my
Oh,
hair. Just
oh yeah. This is a pain. This is a pain in the ass. I get
yeah,
out and it's windy, and there's always that one strand that gets underneath my glasses, and is like trying to floss my eyeball in half.
of course.
And and, it would be nice to be able to eat some corn on the cob without looking like a looking like a compost heap after you're done.
Just saving it for later, man. It's like
Yeah.
bonus, bonus corn.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean it's been there so long. Look, and
Hmm. Don't think I can do that. I can do. What do I have? I don't have anything with me right now.
so what was the other thing that we were discussing pre-record?
Um.
Talked about Cyborg.
Yep. Yep. Uh. Talk,
Hmm.
about, talk about what we tried to cover last week or last time. I think. Oh, the audio. Yeah, audio was my fault. Sorry, I had something set wrong from the initial test run, which should be corrected moving forward.
Okay.
Let's see. Holidays and how they sucked. How things all screwed up.
Yeah.
What else? Oh, you were doing some trainings. You were going through some trainings. We didn't talk about this earlier, but I remember you said you were doing some classes.
Yeah.
Everything going okay with that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Yep. Great thing about having the academy in Oklahoma City
Mm-hmm.
is that when you have a central location for all the training, you get to meet so many people just from everywhere.
Yeah.
It's awesome, and you'll be in class where one person. Oh God, my first class that I ever took, there was I don't want to name names, but there was a guy from New York, and there was a guy from Mississippi,
Oh, that's a fun diversity there.
and they fought like cats, and it was difficult to maintain.
Why?
Well, they disagreed
Oh.
about just about everything, and they were both very, type A personalities, so they just clashed. I mean, when we were there, in lab, we were working on lab. When we were getting lectures, we were taking notes. But every single hour you have downtime.
Mm-hmm.
When the instructor has to go and get a new cup of coffee or gives everybody a bathroom break, whatever, and then we'll just call him New York guy and Mississippi guy.
Same
New
in real
York
life.
guy would say something out of the news. Can you friggin' believe this? And then Mississippi guy just again, they fought like cats. And the hilarious thing was that they both had such thick regional accents that it's like you had to turn a dial in your brain when New York guys started going off on a rant. You had to turn a dial in your brain so that you could, interpret everything that he was saying.
Mm-hmm.
But then as soon as he would stop, Mississippi man would go, and you'd have to, not only would you have to slam that dial back to, Midwest, no accent, and then turn it over, to Mississippi. The class was only for 3 weeks. I can't believe that they were going at each other like that. But the absolute pinnacle of it was when New York guy was going off on one particular rant. He had a lot of things to say, and at the end of it, he was punctuating his points. Here's point number 1, and point number 2, and point number 3, and then just to put the icing on the cake, after stating all his points, he said, and I'm going to do my best. And your freaking accent is so stupid it makes you sound.
Oh, wow.
And Mississippi guy's immediate response was, "Man, I ain't the one to be talking like dang."
Oh, wow.
And I'm dying. I got my face on the desk. I'm weeping. I'm laughing so hard. And and then they start both looking at me like, "What's my problem?" And I'm like, "Pot, kettle. Have you guys met?"
Yeah. Congratulations, you unified the you became a peace solution right there because you gave them a common enemy.
Yep.
That's something right there, man.
Yeah. So that was great. And then some of the other extremes, you'll see. I was in a class where there was one dude from Anchorage. He's been stationed in Anchorage for his entire career, and another guy who I guess was like born and raised in Nebraska, turned 18, went in the Navy for 2 years, got a job in the agency, and for the last for the next 30 years he was stationed in American Samoa.
How many years?
Like 3 decades, 30
Wow.
years.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is just like a Midwestern Nebraska boy, but for well over half of his life he's been living in American Samoa, and the class we were in required us to go outside, and it was a brisk September, around 50 degrees, 55 degrees out there, and a dude from Anchorage is out there wearing a tank top and shorts, and is perfectly comfortable. Meanwhile, Mr. American Samoa's out there. He had snow pants. He had a goose down parka, the Kenny McCormick style, where you zip it up into it. You're looking out of a tube, and these things that he called bunny boots, which were like these big things that went over your normal shoes. And once they were on, you inflated them. So they had like an air gap. You had 2 layers of insulation with an air gap in between the two. He's wearing all this stuff outside in 55-degree weather, and he's dying. He's shaking like a leaf. He's going up to the instructor saying, "Hey, let me go inside. Let me go inside for just give me 5 minutes to go inside." Well, even when we were in the classroom, when we were indoors, he had a t-shirt, and then over that a thermal undershirt, and then over that like a work shirt, and then over that a hoodie. And while we were in the class for lecture and stuff, he had the hoodie zipped up, he had the hood up over his head, and he had his hands just shoved into the pockets. Because the guy's been living for 3 decades in 95-degree weather with 100% humidity every single day.
Honestly, hearing all that is like this. Is this guy got like circulation issues or something? Because that's
no.
Wow.
It's just that he has acclimated. He's acclimated to the climate, and when you go from 95 degrees and 100% humidity to 55 degrees and 20% humidity. It's a thermal shock.
Yeah.
He also had some problems with his digestion. He said just like mainstream, good old fashioned American fare just didn't sit well with him anymore.
Well, to be honest, that's not even.
That's
really,
not all. That's a wrong.
True.
Yeah, but the reason that he stayed in the hotel that he stayed in is because on the second floor of that hotel there was a Polynesian restaurant.
Oh.
And he went there for dinner every single night. And every single night he would go there for dinner, and he would order 2 entrees, one to eat at the table and one to take lunch the next day. Yeah. And I guess for breakfast he would eat fruit and oatmeal and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's yeah. I've gone to school with people from Albuquerque, all up and down the West Coast, all up and down the East Coast. Minneapolis, Indianapolis, Kansas City.
I had an interesting experience. Just talking about accents and stuff like that. I
Yeah.
normally don't do a lot of Discord. I mean, I'll listen, but I don't hardly ever talk if I'm playing a game or something like that. But I got pulled into a game earlier and didn't realize how international it was. I mean, there was someone from Sweden, someone from the UK, I think England, and another person from the UK, somewhere in Scotland, maybe. Um,
Okay.
another couple Americans. I think somebody from. I don't want to say. I don't think it was Finland. It was somewhere. I mean, the diverse accents. I love accents. I love hearing accents. It's
Same.
it's cool. I mean, because like, and they're all speaking English. So I mean, hey, bonus for me. But it was just interesting because like. I mean, one of them sounded like a grandma from Scotland or something like that, and she's online playing games like, "What the heck, man? This is awesome!" And she cussed, man. She cussed like she could make a sailor blush with some things.
Oh
She
yeah.
was, I was just like, "Holy!"
I can do a decent Scottish accent, but I can't do it without cursing.
Yeah. Well, no. What's the point? I mean,
Yeah.
but it was interesting.
I like I love the progression of it.
Mhm.
I love how, given enough time, and it's something that unfortunately we're probably never going to see again.
Mhm.
With the communication on the planet being what it is, I mean, you can talk to somebody from, like you said, you can be online with somebody from Scotland, somebody else from Australia,
Yeah.
somebody else from, Senegal, and somebody else from, Argentina,
Mhm. Yeah.
and you got, and if you're all speaking English, you're all speaking it with different accents.
Yep.
Um, but the fact is, you can do that. You can talk to those people, and everybody that's in those regions can talk to everybody from every other region. Communication being what it is.
Yep.
But you go back, long enough. What started off as an accent, just a regionalistic quirk, if you will, could progress into a whole new language.
Oh
And
yeah. Yeah.
especially if you throw geography into the mix,
Mhm.
you can watch the what do they call all of the romance languages? Romance as in Rome, uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
because the way, for lack of a better term, civilization was moving, across Europe and to the end of the Iberian Peninsula. You had Latin, right? And then everybody started speaking, oh, what did they speak in ancient Rome? Early Italian, whatever.
Yeah. Sounds right.
And but then there's the Italian language, and then you just keep moving, move a little bit further west, and all of a sudden you got French,
Yep. Yep.
you know, and then you go over the next mountain range, into the next big large. Oh, look, you got Spanish, because there's Spain.
Mhm.
One more step over, you got Portuguese. But if you compare Portuguese to Italian, it's
Yeah. I mean,
it's it's nowhere near as close. Like if you speak French, you can actually, you know, you can passably, muddle your way through in Italian, or in the other direction, Spanish. A lot of the rules are the same, and a lot of the words are very similar.
what they call
Um,
cognates, I think they're called. Is that what they have? Shared words or shared vocabulary, maybe?
what's that?
Cognate, cognate, cog.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Sorry, I'll look it up. Keep going. Sorry.
But I think my favorite example of that is, there was a settlement in Canada of French settlers
Mm-hmm.
that came from a place, and they named, their new region that they settled in. They called it Acadia, and they referred to themselves as Acadians. I keep wanting to say Arcadia because I think video arcade, but no, this is Acadia,
Okay.
Acadia, Acadia, and they are Acadians. And they didn't stay there too long. They went and worked their way all the way to this part of Canada until they decided it's freaking cold up here. This sucks. We got a readily available transportation source in the form of the Mississippi River, where we can take this as far as it'll take us, and we're going to go someplace where it's warm. But even though they went all the way down to the Mississippi River Delta in southern Louisiana, they still refer to themselves as Acadians. Now, if you say Acadian repeatedly, if you keep repeating it, Acadian, and you get lazy.
Oh my gosh, yes.
If you get lazy with your embouchure, with your tongue, right?
Yeah.
If you get lazy with your mouth muscles, it turns into Cajun. You stop saying Acadian and you start saying Cajun, Acadian. Cajun.
I was going to go Canadian, but I got you there.
No. But so that's where does the word Cajun come from? That word didn't exist until some Acadians started, a regionalistic accent became practically its own language, like the whole, what is it, like in the Quebecois in Canada, the ones that refuse to speak anything but French.
The only French.
Yeah, it's not French.
Oh, it's like what's their French? It's
what they speak is a regional patois that if you go to France, they despise it.
I'm sure they do. We speak American English, but we speak English. If we go over to the UK, we're still speaking English, but it ain't their English.
Yeah. Was that Churchill that said that the British and the Americans, two people separated by a common language? I think that was Churchill.
That is great. I love that.
Yeah.
It's weird because like in that 1940s era, they had like the mid-Atlantic accent, which is like the news tone, nasally weird way of speaking. Not a fan of that.
Well, I mean, being from where I'm from, I have a lot of people ask me, about the Chicago accent, and I always have to stop and say, "Hold up, whoa, which one?" You go to any given point in Chicago, and yes, you will hear accents, and then you can go 7 blocks in any direction, and it'll be different. I think that the one that got the most popular, I think, was because of this Saturday Night Live Superfan sketch.
Oh yeah, of course.
That was that's not a Chicago accent. That is that's Chicago Polish.
That's a caricature. It's
No, I've met people that talk like that.
Okay, all right.
And you don't have to be Polish to have that. One of the guy I think that had the thickest Chicago Polish accent was actually Italian. But it's all about the get their bratwursts and pork chops, and like anytime the last word of the sentence ends with an S, it always sounds like their head is deflating, like there's air escaping it. They like, give me a bag of chips. No, it's give me a bag of chips. You got to have that. There's like a half second of just air escaping for that.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But no, I mean, you got the North Shore snob accent, and you got the Chicago Jew accent, where everybody, I mean, if you've ever seen a Pink Panther cartoon with the Anteater, because they modeled his speech after Jackie Mason, and that's, hey, holy shit, I gotta get that fucking name. That's, and there's dozens of them, literally dozens. So.
We just have Southern out here. I mean, well, I guess different degrees of Southern. I don't know. I don't know if I sound Southern to you. I've lived in this area my entire life. I lived in Raleigh for like maybe 2 years, but Central North Carolina for the most part. Talked to some folks. Talked to a person in Canada. They're like, "You don't have an accent. Where are you originally from?" I'm like, "I'm born and raised here." I have noticed that if I get riled, apparently it kind of slips out, and I didn't know that until it kind of did one day. I was like, "Oh, be careful with that." because
Yeah,
all of a sudden,
in college, I dated a girl from Arkansas who, yeah, when she got mad, she started to, well, she was from Arkansas,
mhm.
most recently, but she was actually, going back a couple of minutes, she was actually of, not Cajun, but Creole.
Oh wow,
She was of Creole descent, and yeah, when she was either when she was drunk, when she was mad, or when she was imitating her father, she would yeah, she would get very very pronounced with her, and apparently, and who knows, maybe this is just her family, but the a a slang expression indicating a positive response.
a slang expression indicating a positive response.
Yeah, so you could indicate that you're pleased with something by simply going. I'm gonna make sure I don't hurt myself. Yeah,
That is not a word.
but
That
like you see,
that's clearing phlegm. That's not a
yeah,
word.
you see, somebody, some Okinawan, when they're, you know, excited and they want
Mhm.
to exclaim something that's something like "Yosh," you know,
Yeah,
but
but I can hear letters in that.
sure.
The other one is just like
Well, no, you can hear
clearing
letters.
blockages.
There's an H, and then there's a
All right,
lot of vowels.
let me hear it again.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. I kind of get you. Honestly, I'm hearing onomatopoeia for like a car going by real fast. I mean,
No, but I mean, it's like you come into a party, somebody tosses you a beer,
mhm.
and you look down and notice that it's your favorite brand of beer. You
Okay, all right,
know,
I
like
got you.
I am pleased with this occurrence.
Okay,
You know,
I can follow you there. I can follow you there. That is regional stuff, man. It's fun.
hmm
It's fun.
it is.
Um,
Etymology is has always been kind of a hobby of mine. I love seeing how words become words.
I'm drawing a blank now. Oh gosh. Old.
Etymology,
No, no,
not
no,
entomology. That's
not that.
bugs.
Talking
You're
about.
thinking of bugs.
No, I know what that is. Regional stuff. Old Bay. What is that? What
Old
area?
Bay is a seasoning.
Yeah, but what's that place? That place.
New
God.
England?
Yes, that new the
Yeah.
Michigan. Michigan. No.
No, New England.
Massachusetts.
Yeah, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Delaware, Rhode Island, especially Maine.
Further
No,
south. Further south. It's Maryland. 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 That's
Maryland. Okay.
the crabs. Maryland with crabs in Old
hmm
Bay. That was. It wasn't like world shaking, but it was just like the you. I guess I can compare it to like Southern barbecue. You don't slag Southern barbecue, but like me walking into like what's Old Bay, it was like record scratch. Everybody turns and looks at you. I was like, oh crap, what did I just do?
Well, I remember from my time in the greater Raleigh Durham area.
Hmm.
If you say Carolina barbecue, uh, they will ask you to specify
Yep.
because there's Eastern and then there's Western, or there's Western and then Coastal or whatever they called it, but one of them's more one of them's more heat, the other one's more sweet. I
Yeah.
remember that.
Yep. Yep. Um, one will make you one one will clear you out, and one will make you sleep. Um, I what was it written? I think Rhett and Link had a song. They made it like this is like 25 years ago. They made a song about barbecue. I just like this one part. Like it's like barbecue is not a verb, something like that.
uh,
They
my
covered
my
all the different
favorite
types.
my favorite thing about barbecue as a term, as it's used,
Hmm.
is that if somebody is in their backyard and they are having a nice Fourth of July celebration,
Yeah,
and they're doing hot dogs and hamburgers and maybe even some chicken,
yeah,
right? If you call what they're doing barbecue, they're fine with it.
yeah.
They will not correct you, and it'll be a complete non-event.
Hmm.
Okay. if there's somebody there who is particular, maybe even a professional about, cooking meat low and slow, and you're talking about grilling and you say barbecue,
Mm-hmm.
they will become emotionally upset.
Yes, they will.
And
Yes, they will. I
yeah.
have. There was a number of years in my life where I've gone through, and we used to call it a pig picking, which other
Okay.
folks would call it a barbecue because you would take pig shoulders or pig butts or whatever, and you wrap them in foil, and you season wrap them in foil, and you put them over a flame for like 6 hours.
Hmm.
That's I'm familiar with that world. I remember going through, and you take it off the grill, you take the foil off, you take the bone out, and you go and you run it through the chopper, and then you do all this stuff. I mean, that's you know
Hmm.
that's what it is.
I would. I don't
But
know. I think it's. I think people that are into barbecue. It's just understood that. Uh, you know, it's not like there's anything wrong with grilling.
oh no,
Grilling is what it is. It is, however, inferior. Barbecue is a superior
well let's
method
let's let's really break
of
it
cooking.
down. Are we talking charcoal? Are we talking propane or wood fire? I mean that's
Oh,
we
propane? No, no, that's magic. No, you cook outside, you cook on wood. You cook outside, you cook with fire. You build mighty fire. Cook meat. Yeah, yeah. Um, but it's actually a similar situation to just like somebody who's grilling will certainly allow you to say that they are barbecuing. Um, in our nation's capital, we have a legislative branch of government, right?
careful.
Oh, hold on, I'm not getting political. I'm just drawing a comparison between grilling and barbecue on one side. All right, so we have the legislative branch, right?
Yes, we do.
It is made up of the United States House of Representatives,
It's made up of a
right?
collection of assholes. Sorry.
It is. It totally is. But but you altogether, it is known as Congress, right?
Yes, yes.
That is the United States Congress, all right? That is the Congress is made up of senators and representatives. Both senators and representatives could be called congressmen.
Yes.
But if you if you were to say congressman to a senator, they will correct you,
Of course they will.
but a representative will not.
Nope.
So
Because, I mean, honestly, at that point,
because
if you're addressing them like that, you're trying to argue with them most times, and they're just going to try and throw you off their game as best they can.
no, I'm just drawing the comparison between so in this case, Senate is barbecue and representatives is grilling, right?
Gotcha.
Whereas the person grilling, who you say, hey, that barbecue smells good, they will not correct you,
Yep. It's like, hey,
unless they're like a Steven Reichland who's just crazy, fanatic about grilling.
but what if they want to put like a veggie patty on the grill? Then what?
As long as you're cooking it over, fire. I cooked all kinds of vegetables on a grill. I cook corn. I
No,
cook
no, no.
zucchini,
Veggie patty. Not
veggie
a.
patty. Oh well,
Do you let them call it a burger?
um, I would tell them that that's not a hamburger. That's a lie that they're eating. It may be a delicious lie, but it is a lie nonetheless.
Very well.
Mm. Um, but yeah, oh man, I had a neighbor. The first house I bought. Um, I had let's see, the original neighbors. They moved out. New neighbors moved in, and okay, this is gonna get gross. um, the neighbors that were there when I moved in had dogs, three of them,
Oh no,
big
no, no!
dogs.
I don't think I want to hear this.
Why?
do,
Okay,
do the dogs survive the story?
yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
All right. Continue. Sorry.
Sure. No, so they had dogs, three of them, big ones. Okay.
Hmm.
Now, the way that their yard was set up, they had like the house, and then the garage, and then a behind the garage was a so that left one little corner in the back of the lot behind the garage, what wasn't taken up by the shed. right?
Yeah.
That's where they let the dogs go and do their thing.
Three of
Okay?
them.
Yeah,
Oh
three of them,
boy.
big dog. Yeah,
Oh boy.
and in the springtime, that got brutal because they let them go and do it, and they let them kick it around. I mean, I remember one of my chores growing up as a kid. We had golden retrievers, and one of my chores was going out to the dog run. Where we had the pea gravel
Yeah.
all set down, and at least once every couple days or so, I had to go and shovel up all the landmines, put them into a garbage bag, and before that garbage bag got too full, take it down to the curb.
Yeah. Ooh.
Using a leaf and lawn bag, doubled up, because if that sucker broke, you were hating life forever.
Mm-hmm. That's bad.
So, but anyway, they had, I think one of their dogs was a Chow, and then they had one. It was a Pyrenees, Great Pyrenees.
Mm-hmm.
Anywho, big dogs, three of them, and they never cleaned up after.
Ooh.
They had their one spot where they would go and do their thing, and then they would come in and wipe their feet and whatever. But it was just that was it was behind the garage next to the shed. It was out of sight, out of mind as far as they were concerned.
Yeah.
And like I said, for the most part, didn't notice it. But if the wind was blowing in the right direction on a warm spring morning after the thaw, yeah, it got horrendous. So they moved out, took their dogs with them.
But let's surprise.
So the new neighbors moved in, and this dude looked at that patch of property that he was now the proud owner of, and went and rented him a good quality tiller, and didn't take anything, didn't clear out any vegetation, nothing. He just went and just chopped up all the dirt, and with the tiller, just chopped it up down to, like, I think he said 9 or 10 inches deep, all broken up, and put in a vegetable garden.
Okay.
Right. This dude, you're average height, right? Maybe a little taller.
About 6 feet, somewhere in that range.
Look down. Look at your leg from the ankle to the knee.
Okay.
All right. And I'm talking girth as well as length. All right.
Mm-hmm.
He was bringing surplus zucchinis over that was as big as your lower leg.
Oh wow.
He was bringing tomatoes over that that were like the size of a human spleen.
How many years were those dogs there?
I'm exaggerating. Well, many years. So yeah, one of my favorite things to do, those summers was to, when I got the grill going, I would, once the burger patties were ready, I would take like a 3/4 inch slice of that zucchini,
Mm-hmm.
because it was about as big around as it kind of perfectly fit right on top of a hamburger bun.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would take like a 3/4 inch slice of that, brush it with olive oil, hit it with salt and pepper, and put it on the grill right next to the burger. And every time you flip the burger, you flip the zucchini, and just it was almost like a double burger.
Yeah. No, I got you. When properly prepared, zucchini is fantastic. I mean,
Mm-hmm. But yeah, roasted corn over a wood fire. Oh,
yeah.
That's good stuff.
Yep. Just checking on the recording. Everything's still going okay.
Steven Reichland, I used to watch him, and I got the idea that this dude didn't eat anything that wasn't cooked outside over a grill. I remember one particular special. He made 7 different desserts.
Yeah. That's a lot of dessert.
How do you make desserts? Outside on a Weber grill.
On a grill?
Yes. 7 different desserts on a grill.
I thought you were just saying he made like ice cream or something like that. How do you? I mean,
one of them was ice cream. One of them was
grill.
Yes.
No.
Yes. Yep.
Pete, you're a man of science. I know that's not true.
No. Here's okay. They say the memory is the second thing to go, but that was the first one.
I keep forgetting.
So you start with a plank of wood that you wrap in aluminum foil, and then you take the half a gallon container of ice cream,
Mm-hmm.
and you split it down the middle with big honking knife. Split it down the middle,
Mm-hmm.
so you end up with two kind of semi-dome things, and you set them on top of the plank of wood, foil covered, and stick them together so it almost looks like the places where people play tennis in the wintertime. The big the big bubble. They're like
Yes.
inflatable buildings.
Yes.
Yeah. So it looks kind of similar to that in basic shape.
All right.
And then he's got the stand mixer going over there with some sugar and egg whites, making a basic meringue, which he then takes that meringue, goes over the ice cream with it. So you've got about 1.5 inches of meringue, which is, if you think about it, it's insulation.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, because
Yeah.
yeah, that's how they use it in like baking, the British baking
Mm-hmm.
show.
So now that you got ice cream with the meringue on it on this plank of wood, and you put that right on the grill, and as the wood is getting cooked, it's all smoky coming up there, and the heat is caramelizing just the top layer of the meringue, making it nice and like it's essentially a toasted marshmallow at that point. I mean, and yeah, bring it out, slice it up, and serve it.
Okay.
He the same episode he did a shish kebab dessert, which was basically peaches and cinnamon sticks, where he cut the peaches in half, and then cut the halves into slices, and then used cinnamon sticks as skewers to skewer the peach slices together. And he had soaked them in some kind of like a syrup honey kind of solution, and he put that right on the grill, right over the flame.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, I've
He
done that.
cooked
Good.
he cooked apples. Yeah, it was a bunch of stuff.
Like a baked apple kind of thing.
Yeah.
Do you do the
Yeah,
pineapple?
actually, he had apple like two different ways.
Yeah.
He did have he had pineapple slices that were sitting right on top of the grill that he had.
That is so
He,
good.
that was that was his second type of kebabs, where he was actually, and he didn't use cinnamon sticks for that. He used the regular bamboo skewers.
Yeah.
But he was skewering like the grilled pineapple with hunks of watermelon and strawberries and honeydew,
Wow.
and just
Okay,
putting
that does sound really good.
yeah. So it's like pineapple, honeydew, watermelon, strawberry, boom, 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 and then like a maraschino cherry on the tip, and boom, right on the grill. But that one, he actually grilled the pineapple before cutting it up and putting it on the skewer.
Really?
Was that a different one? No, that was him. Yeah. So yeah,
I saw.
yeah, seven different kinds of desserts that
That is impressive.
come off the grill.
I can't remember where I saw it now, but I saw where someone took a pineapple and kind of tenderized it to where you could pull the different little shapes out of it, and you would have like a bite-sized piece of whatever.
Yeah.
Without cutting it.
I think I saw something similar to
Yeah,
that.
it was pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
There may have been alcohol involved. I can't remember, but there was some kind of like trick. Maybe like they cut
Hey,
the
the
top
best,
off and like poured something in or something.
The best amaretto stone sour I ever had in my life was down on the island of Curacao, at the hotel bar. They had this special stand so that a peeled cored pineapple was just always accessible.
Mm-hmm.
So they had them in little plastic containers, and with the juice in it and everything.
Yeah.
So that when the one on the bar ran out, they just grabbed another container and turned it upside down, and there it is. So normal way, what I thought was the only way to make an amaretto stone sour was to get the sweet and sour mix, and then orange juice, pineapple juice, and then of course some good quality Di Serrano amaretto.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they had 2 out of 3. They had the sweet and sour mix, and they had the amaretto. And the amaretto, by the way, I was expecting, right? Yeah, this was a.
Gotcha.
All right.
Hand me
And
tweezers.
and in lieu of the pineapple and orange juice, he had just pulls out this big honking kitchen knife and hacks a slab of the peeled cord pineapple and throws that into the blender,
Mm.
and then takes that same blade and does a once around on this like just massive like Valencia orange.
Mm-hmm.
Does a once around on that and with just this was not his first rodeo. With one smooth motion, he popped that orange completely out and had the peels in both hands.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So
They, they,
one smooth
they,
motion,
they genetically
and there.
modify oranges to do that now.
So that entire orange, blunk, into the blender
Wow.
with the sweet and sour mix and the the slightly less than lethal dose of amaretto, and yeah, blended that up, and it was like the world's best slushy, and yeah, good stuff, man.
Yep. Closest thing we have around here is something called the Juice Shop, and it's technically health food, but it's a treat. Man. It's like it's got I think it's got like it's fruit and fruit juice. I think it's like a little bit of like yogurt and or ice cream in it.
Well, isn't fruit and fruit juice not so much health food
Not at
anymore?
all. Not at all. It's all sugar. I mean,
Yeah, it's candy.
it's
It's
delicious.
nature's candy, but it's candy. Yeah.
Yeah.
The way I had it explained to me as far as apples go is that the reason why you're not supposed to drink apple juice is because uh, like a nice tall cold glass of apple juice probably has the juice of four apples in it, right? So on the one hand, you got four apples. If you were to eat those four apples, you would be very full,
Oh yes.
and you would also have all the fiber and everything that comes with that.
All the other good stuff.
If all you do is drink the juice, you're just getting the straight sugar, eliminating all the fiber, all the bulk, anything else, and you don't feel as full. So you're probably eating something along with it.
Which has extra sugar in it. Yeah.
Uh,
I want some apple juice in my cake.
what's your favorite
Favorite what? Juice?
cake?
Cake? Oh gosh. Hmm. Honestly, I usually go for some kind of citrusy cake. Like I like a good lemon cake.
Okay.
I like
Pineapple upside down cake. I know that's not citrus, but
that's good stuff right there.
good stuff.
I don't know favorite. I mean, you can't go wrong with a classic chocolate cake. I mean, but I've had some bad chocolate cakes. Like this.
Really?
Yeah, oh yeah. I don't
I
know.
suppose you can screw anything up.
Oh yes. I'm just all I need is opportunity. I can make it go wrong.
Yeah.
More for Congress when I grow up. But no, the um, favorite cake. I don't know, man. I've had some really good cheesecake. There's, of course, the Cheesecake Factory, but around here we have a small business called Cheesecake by Alex, and they were they were a little pissed off when the Cheesecake Factory moved in, but a lot of local businesses stuck with them, and they said we're only going to serve Cheesecake by Alex, and they do a bunch of not like over the top designer type stuff, but you can go and get your creme brulee cheesecake. You can get your banana pudding cheesecake, your Oreo cheesecake. But they make it all there.
Yeah.
So I mean,
There's a steakhouse in Aurora
mhm.
that I used to go to that they would get daily deliveries from the Carnegie Deli in New York of cheesecake.
Mm,
And I think I saw something with it. I think that deli closed. I don't think that's there anymore.
really.
I haven't been to that steakhouse in forever though.
Hmm.
But since you didn't ask, German
I
chocolate.
was going to ask. Yeah, I didn't get there yet. I try not to. I'm bad about interrupting. German chocolate is
Yeah.
the right German chocolate. Oh
Yeah.
man. Ooh.
The last birthday party of any kind that I was responsible for, it was for my daughter, and I let her pick everything.
Mhm.
we walked into the bakery together, and they had, so it's one of those bakeries that they sell coffee and there's places to sit.
Yeah.
So I got myself in a nice comfortable overstuffed chair, and you know the baker came out and she's like, okay, I can show you this, I can show you. I was like, no, show her. And what we what her, I want to say 14th birthday cake was a 1/4 sheet pumpkin pie.
Oh man. See, I didn't even think about pies, but yeah, pumpkin. Oh
Yeah,
man.
she decided that for her birthday cake, she wanted her birthday cake to be a pumpkin pie. So, but we still had to make it, shaped like a cake. So you can get like a full sheet, half sheet, quarter sheet, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So this was a quarter sheet. So we're talking
It's big. Yeah.
like a couple feet across and a foot and a half this way, and just standard pie thickness of pumpkin pie for the entire thing.
Mm.
And it had decoration. Oh, and you know what cake pops are,
Oh yeah.
right?
Yeah, my
Yeah.
daughter loves them.
The entire perimeter of the birthday pumpkin pie, no sticks, just the part that would be on the end of the stick of a cake pop. She picked her 4 favorite kind of cake pops, and I think German chocolate was one of those. So every 4th one was a German chocolate cake pop.
Mm.
So they just alternated, and there had to have been like, there had to have been 50 of them at least, just lining the perimeter, and then whipped cream inside of that, and then of course happy birthday, blah, 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 all that on the inside.
Yeah.
So, and so she had invited a bunch of friends over, but really I think only 2 showed up.
Mm-hmm.
So it's me and my daughter and 2 of my daughter's friends. So when it came time to sing happy birthday, we sang happy birthday. She blew out the candles, and then I just gave everybody a fork. We all picked a corner and started working our way in. We didn't get far.
I
mean,
imagine not. No.
Relative to the size of the confection, yeah, it was we didn't get very far, and we were eating pumpkin pie for days.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm sure. Yeah, because I mean, the cake pops alone would be like
Oh
a
God,
brick.
yeah, yeah.
I tell you, man, Starbucks sells those things, and they're like not quite $3 each. It's like this. It's like it's a bite.
Yeah.
It's a
Oh,
bite.
this particular birthday cake was not cheap.
No, I'm sure it wasn't. This was.
I didn't give baby girl any kind of a budget. I just told her to get exactly what she wanted, so
Mm-hmm.
she did. And
It's one of those
hey,
one of those call ahead kind of cakes.
no,
No?
we
They made
went
it?
there. Oh no! This was like, yeah, we were there weeks before.
Okay.
But yeah, we just took a nice casual, relaxing Saturday morning to her sit there and say everything that she wanted in a birthday cake.
Yeah.
So they went through a bunch of ideas. What the end product was, if you think about it, was remarkably simple. Just like it didn't have layers or anything like that. Like the last time I had my son build his own birthday cake, it was like a 4-layer cake, and it's like in between layer 1 and 2 was strawberries, and in between layer 3 and 4 was like creme brulee or something, and in between layer 3 and 4 was some kind of chocolate, whatever. And so yeah, this wasn't anything detailed like that. Just I gotta wonder, just by volume, getting rid of everything else, getting rid of the crust, getting rid of the cake pops and the writing, how many pies worth of pumpkin pie filling was on that tray?
What do you say it was like 2 foot by a foot and a half?
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah,
That's a lot. That's a lot of 8-inch. You figure your average
Yeah.
pumpkin pie is like in an 8-inch pie tin. That's a
I
lot.
think you're looking at like between 4 and 6 pumpkin pies, maybe.
I would guess more.
Okay.
Of course, now the nerd in me is going to force me to go and start doing some calculations.
Hmm.
I'll have that answer for you next time.
So were the cake pops on the inside of that perimeter, or are they like additional to that?
No,
to
they were.
that?
yeah, there was the crust on the edge, crust on the bottom,
Mm-hmm.
and then up here's the pumpkin pie stuff. So right there, right on that perimeter was the where the cake pops without the without the stick.
Okay, okay. That's a good cake right there. That's a good call.
Yeah, I mean, girls got taste.
Do we want to talk about Washington?
Well, I can't really see how we can't. Um, I mean, oh, that's the other thing. That was the pre-recording thing. I was going to tell you why I was having such a weird day
Oh, okay. Far away.
as far as my sleep schedule being, because I got off work at midnight last night,
Mm-hmm.
and then I did the long drive home. I got in around 2 in the morning. So one would think I'd be, wanting to hit the sack right away, but unfortunately, I have a new addiction,
Which is?
which is my Christmas present from Matt. He went on to my Steam wish list, and he got me uh, a Mount and Blade 2 Bannerlord is the complete title.
Okay.
I never even knew that there was a first one. I had, was not aware of the title, but this is the sequel to that title,
Yeah.
and oh brother, it sucks you in.
How would you describe the game? What could you compare it to someone who doesn't know anything about it?
Okay, okay, I would compare it to my first ever real-time strategy game that I played, which was Age of Empires 2: The Age of Kings. What is it with me and sequels coming in on a sequel? I don't know. So yeah, so it's if Age of Empires 2: Age of Kings is a portrait, okay,
Mm-hmm.
Mountain Blade 2 Bannerlords is a hologram.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, good analogy.
Yeah, I got you.
Oh, smart.
That's pretty good.
So
Write that one down.
so it's oh, and you're probably one of the there's probably only a few thousand people in the entire world that could understand how profound a statement this is, but it has the best, most detailed character generator
I disagree.
since City of Heroes.
Okay, I'll take that. No, I can't. I can't understand that. City of Heroes had a
There
ridiculous
are,
customization.
I gotta think that for the number of sliders that you have, it's got to be in well into triple digits.
Wow.
I mean, there's like 3 dozen sliders just for your face. You know? So yeah, you start off by making a character. You make them in his or her adult form.
Mm-hmm.
Like this. This is what they're going to grow up to be. And then you have to fill in the backstory of how you got there.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going even after you've got the physical appearance done. Then you're like, okay, when you were born to your parents, what what was their station? I should give you a time reference. This is Middle Ages.
Okay.
It's completely fictitious.
Oh yeah.
It is not at all. Well, I mean, some games like this try to be at least somewhat historically accurate or pertinent. This doesn't even try. This is a completely different world.
Well, I mean, if you know the Black Plague's coming, then it's kind of not fair.
So I don't know if that's an aspect of this game or not.
Not yet.
I got. I think, like I said, I got it for Christmas. I think I got about 30 hours in already. So yeah, got home at 2 in the morning, and my stomach gurgle made me notice that it was a little bit after 9 a.m.
Oh wow.
And
Oh,
here's the
wow.
thing, I wasn't tired. I was so engrossed in the game, I was not sleepy at all.
That's how you know something's going right.
Yeah. So you build your character and you start off and you're just a guy or a girl or your choice.
I mean, it can't be an orc.
And so in my I can only speak for my in particular case. So it was started off with it's me and my brother,
Mm-hmm.
and they give you a little nudge to make you get active right away rather than simply mill around. Yeah, there's a tutorial section. There's a place where you can go and practice combat and stuff. And the combat is hard. It is so difficult. It is not what you would call intuitive. It looks great when you do it right,
Mm-hmm.
but it's a matter of doing it right.
There's a learning curve there.
Yeah. So I mean, you start out. You have to get proficient with a sword. You have to get proficient with sword and shield. You have to get proficient with a lance and shield,
Hmm. A
and then you
lance,
have to get yeah
like a
lance,
javelin or like a short lance,
like a lance, like a long spear.
but not like a halberd, not like on a horse, kind of jousting.
No, like
Okay,
on a horse
sorry,
jousting thing.
my brain went that way. Like
Yeah,
what?
no,
No,
no.
wow.
So
Okay,
what like you would call it? I mean, you could call it. There's a lot of words. You could call it a pike, I guess.
okay. Oh, gotcha.
You
I
know,
gotcha. Yeah,
but it's a long spear, and you fight with a shield, and you give him a shield bash to get the distance on there, and then go over the shield to stab him.
gotcha.
And then so once you get proficient with all of that on foot,
Uh,
then you have to go and mount up and get proficient in doing it while riding a horse. And then you go to a different section where you learn how. It's funny you mentioned javelins because you get proficient at throwing javelins, firing a crossbow, and shooting either a long or short bow.
hmm.
You got different tests to gauge your proficiency in those three, and then now you got to do all three of them on horseback. And I just realized I misspoke because you cannot fire crossbow from horseback.
I was gonna.
You can throw javelins and you can fire a short bow, but you can't fire a longbow or a crossbow.
I'll take the crossbow. I mean, all that jostling around, the bolt's gonna come out of the channel, isn't it?
Right.
Yeah.
Plus, you'd only be even if you did, you'd only be able to shoot it once.
Yeah, because you got to do like
You're not gonna.
the foot pull kind of thing, right?
Yeah, you're not gonna reload a crossbow at a full gallop. Yeah. So,
Did you say you could do
so
a
now
javelin on horseback? 'Cause could you throw a
yeah,
javelin on horseback?
yeah,
Okay, all
yeah,
right.
you can. I mean, javelins. Why would you use a javelin instead of a short bow? It hits a lot harder.
Yeah,
Short bow is more accurate at a greater distance. Um, and that's all just in the tutorial. I mean, once you get into the actual game, you can maybe decide I'm not really feeling a short bow or javelins. I'm gonna get some throwing axes you know or some knives. Whatever.
yeah.
My point is, combat is hard. It is.
So are
It is
you fighting UI or are you fighting not UI? Good lord, are you fighting AI or are you fighting other people?
Fighting AI so far. I've got 30 hours in the game, but it's me against the computer so far.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, so the kick in the ass that you get in the beginning is it's you and your brother, and I say you, just understand I'm talking about my experience. So it's
Yeah.
it's me and my brother. Which, by the way, the game assigned me a brother. I didn't know that was going to happen.
You didn't get a choice, much like life.
Yeah, but here's the great thing: like when you create your character, you create your character in the adult form, it then makes your parents, and you can see features of yourself coming from both parents.
I like
It's like, oh
that.
look,
That's cool.
I
'Cause
got my dad's nose, I got
yeah.
my mom's eyes, I got my dad's hairline, I got my mom's jaw. It's all
Mhm.
it's all there. And then my brother, looks like me, but not exactly. He's a little bit shorter.
Mhm.
He's got mom's hairline instead of dad's hairline. You know,
See, that's cool. They thought about that.
yeah.
I mean, they took the data you gave the character you
Mhm.
made and retrofit or not retrofit. What was the worst?
Yeah.
Reused it in a reasonable way. That's cool. I like that.
Yeah, they reverse engineer you
That's the
basically
thing.
to build your parents. So, turns out I have not only a brother who's a shorter, less good looking version of me. We also have a much younger brother and sister, and so my very first storyline is you know our family is caravan. Dad's a blacksmith. Mom does what mom does, and uh, he has worked in the forge of a local lord, and has saved up enough money that he's going to start his own business, but he can't start it in the we were brought up within a fortified city. We can't start it there because too much competition. So we're going to a smaller settlement, and Dad's going to set up shop there. Well, caravan gets waylaid. Mom and Dad are dead, and brother and sister are taken hostage. So that's your first mission task, if you will, is you got to get little brother and little sister back.
Mm-hmm.
And which means you have to go from town to town, from fortification to fortification, from city to city, if you will, from castle to castle, and you got to talk to a bunch of people and get all the information, so that you can find who it is. And then once you find out who did it, you finally track them down, and then he's like, "Oh, I sold them, man." So you're like, "Well, I guess that's it for you then." And he's like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, wait, I don't have them anymore, but I know who I sold them to, so you don't cut my head off, and I'll help you go and get brother and sister back." And
Mm-hmm.
then there's more combat, da da da, and now you finally get to where brother and sister are, and you have to go and defeat the bad guys that are holding brother and sister. And and then even after brother and sister are safe, you give them to your the older brother to go and take them and foster them at
Yeah.
one at this castle and one at this fortification. And so they're safe. They're not with mom and dad, but they're safe, and they're going to be cared for. You don't just drop them off in an orphanage. You drop them off. You're fostering them with local nobility, aristocracy.
Sure. Something.
Um,
Kind of
but they're gonna grow up. They're gonna grow up. They're gonna learn a trade. But you didn't just hand them off to a shopkeeper and say, here's your indentured servant. You handed them off to a shopkeeper with a bag of gold,
Yeah.
and the understanding that I will hear of it if they are mistreated. And then it's decision time, because you go back to the dude who originally abducted them, and he's all, "Well, I helped you get him back, so we're all good, right?"
Morality
Well,
mission.
you still killed my mom and dad. So I cut his head off.
Does it give you the option of, like, okay, maybe a hand?
Now you can let him go.
Hmm.
You can let him go. You can take him into your service.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
I'm glad it's not just like one or the other.
Here's the thing: I wouldn't trust him.
No, that's just it. Yeah, he's going by his time.
That's the part. Now this whole time that you're doing all this, you're building an army.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, by definition, I guess it's not an army. You start. What is the breakdown? Yeah, you start off with a squad. A squad. You start off by hiring a couple of people, and as you go and get into fights, your experience level goes up, and you can, get better. You can get bonuses to stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody in your party also levels up. Like your brother who's there fighting with you, he levels up.
Mm-hmm.
And like when you go and, all right, here's a band of 11 looters going across the screen, and here's me with 7 of my close friends. for me, with me and my brother and 6 people that work for us,
Yeah.
and we go and boom, then conflict ensues, and that's when you go from a top down look at the map to now you're on the battlefield, and cousin, thousands. You can have thousands of individual units on the same freaking battlefield.
That's crazy.
It is. It is.
Wow.
And while the battle's going on, what's your style, man? How do you roll? Do you take the spot high up on the highest peak in the area and give directions, telling people where to go, what to do? Or you going to go and jump in the mix? Yeah, you're going to sit at the peak. You're going to surround yourself with archers and take pot shots while your infantry and your cavalry are out there doing their thing. Or are you going to go and are you going to dismount and go mix it up with your skirmishers? Or are you going to ride over to your cavalry and lead a charge with them while the infantry back? Your call.
Can you do a phalanx?
Of course.
Oh, yes.
You can do a shield. Yeah, you can do a shield wall.
Nice.
You can do all kinds of different formations. I still don't know all the hotkeys. It's the function keys.
Mm-hmm.
It's like F1, F2, or F3 to open up the 3 different menus, and then it's within those menus there's all kinds of things. You can the one that I use the most is F1, F3.
Yeah. Because
F1 opens up the menu and F3 is full charge. That's just go get them, boys. Yeah. So when all else fails, sick them. Go.
Once upon a time, about must have been like 15 years ago, I somehow connected with some folks who did called Amp Guard, and it was you know what LARPing is,
of course,
but this was like minus the role playing part, like. I mean, you had a character, I guess, but this was more about. I always compared to like cowboys and Indians, but with foam swords.
Yeah. Sure.
So
yeah, I've done that.
It was so much fun. I haven't had so much fun, and I mean, it was great because it was like maybe 15 or so folks. So we break into 2 teams. Mm-hmm. And reason why I said
that'll keep you in shape too,
dude. I was running. Like, I was running. I mean, I ain't running.
And you're not just running. You're running in gear. You might have 45 pounds of gear on you while you're running around. It is exhausting and hilarious.
We were out there. The reason why I asked about the phalanx, because like one time someone made a phalanx. Like 3 or 4 guys got shoulder to shoulder and took about half 3/4 shield, and it worked. I mean, they had enough to make about. Not 180 degrees, but a good movable wall, and they had an archer. So like they break and he'd go, boom, and then he'd drop back down, and it was like you couldn't get past it. It was amazing.
There are leagues that you can join.
Mm-hmm. I couldn't find anything around here.
Some of them are like hundreds of members strong.
Oh yeah, crazy.
Where you'll have within the league you'll have factions. And it's kind of like having a football season where you have the different factions are gonna alliances are gonna be forged and broken over the course of the summer or the season or the whatever it is. Yeah. And okay, so you're building your forces, and of course you need money. So what are you gonna do for money? There's nothing but options. What do you want to do for money? I
would think farming would be a relatively stable thing until plague hits or
you can open up a shop in a city. Mm-hmm. You can go to an existing shop in a city and buy it if you have enough coin to do that. You can start a caravan. You can be proactive, or not proactive. You can be hands-on. See, once you establish a caravan, that's like passive income for you, as long as the caravan doesn't get sacked.
Caravans like shipping stuff, right?
Yeah. Okay. Trade caravan. It's going to go from A to B to C to D to E to F back to A, and every cycle that it does that, you get money.
Yeah.
And
In my head, I would be able to do something like that, but yeah.
but that's passive. If you want to get more actively involved in trade, you can go buy a bunch of pack horses, buy a bunch of mules, and then notice that, wow, if I go into this castle city, um, they have ranches all over the place. So leather is dirt cheap. They practically give it away. But if I go over here where it's a more arid environment, maybe even a desert thing, where you bought these leather pelts, for 2 gold a piece, they might pay 20 gold a piece. So you can be, directly involved. Just go and buy a bunch of mules, buy a bunch of pack horses, and then buy a bunch of stuff. Load them up, and then make the journey yourself. And while you're along that journey, there might be opportunities on the way. Like I say, you go and you see, oh look, there's a band of looters. Everybody hates looters.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to be ticking off any, local lord or fiefdom or anything. So yeah, run them down. Get into combat with them at the end of combat. If you didn't just straight up kill every single one of them, whichever ones are just wounded, you can take prisoner. And then the next time you're in a castle city, you can go to the tavern district and ransom them. And you also get, for the ones that did kick the bucket, what's the first rule of gaming? Never leave a corpse unlooted.
You gotta loot everything, yeah.
Yeah. So you take all their tunics, all their shoes, all their weapons, all their armor. You even take their animals. And
resources.
Yeah, and so you can enter into the service of, because when you're starting off, you don't really have a home. You left your home.
Yeah.
That's gone, and the home you were going to didn't work out. So you're on your own. So you might go to one of the greater, landowners in the area and talk to them. Hey, you get along with your neighbors? No? Can I work for you? And so basically, you can start out as like a mercenary where, any supply wagons with, that now show up as red for you, that used to show up as white in the beginning of the game, everything's white, But now that you agree to work for this guy, you look, the next time you're on the map, oh look, these guys are all green. These guys are blue. I can take or leave them, but these guys are red. So if I see a trade caravan and they're red, open season, brother. If you decide that's how you want to go, because one huge part of the game is, for lack of a better term, reputation.
I was going to ask about that, like a morality system.
More than that. It's okay. It's a morality system, but it's more than just more. It's you get you get renown.
Oh, okay.
You get favor. You get is it favor?
Like a battle,
anyway,
like a battle reputation.
You can you can get a reputation for being ruthless, which the next time you meet up with somebody, maybe they don't want to deal with you because they don't like how you operate. Maybe the next time you meet up with somebody, they, you go and meet up with the trade caravan, they might just surrender. It's like, okay, yeah, we know how this is going to go. Just take it.
Yeah.
Whatever you want, just take it. Leave, take what you want, leave the rest, and yeah, Or if you get a reputation, I guess, of being soft, you know, now all of a sudden the bands of looters aren't running away from you anymore. If they're of a comparable size to your party,
Mm-hmm.
they might start running you down like, hey, that guy, so now you're getting harassed because you get the reputation of and like local business folks, you can get reputation specifically with them, and that can go in positive or negative.
Yeah.
um Something that's kind of far in the distance for me. I know it's part of the game, but I know I haven't done anything with it. You can get married.
Hmm.
You can marry off your brother for political reasons. You can like form an alliance between you know. So you went into the service of this landowner,
Mm-hmm.
and he's got a neighbor that he's neutral with, right? Sometimes they trade, sometimes they clash, but for the most part, they just live and let live. So you go over and marry your brother off to one of that guy's daughters, and all of a sudden, the alliance becomes bigger. You know, you you got to marry for political reasons, but after you get married, then you start having kids because the time keeps on rolling,
Oh,
rolling, rolling.
really? Okay.
At It's my understanding that at some point in the game you're going to die, either if you don't die by the blade or the plague, you just get old. So at some point in the game, you're going to stop playing as your first created character, and you're going to start playing as your kid.
Oh, wow.
Once they yeah once your kid is old enough, you can take them into start taking them out in your party, start getting them experience, and they become let's see, in your party there's basically two levels of party members. There's like generic, these are people that you hire, but there's also companions, and when you hire companions, they'll level up with you. You can entrust them to do other things, like if you go and you talk to somebody and say, oh hey, I heard you were in the area, I really need this trade caravan to be babysat. My last three caravans got looted, we need this one, taken care of. It's like, well, I don't really have time for that, but I'll send, Lucian over there, and I'll give him 10 cavalry and 15 archers, and then he goes off and does his thing, and you get the money that way. And at some point, you'll meet up with him again. You'll rejoin. So you can do all kinds of stuff with companions, and you can you can equip them. You can purchase equipment. If you go and you kill a bunch of people and take their stuff, some of their stuff might be better than your stuff, might be better than your companion stuff. So you go and do all that.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you have a kid, once your kid gets old enough, you can take them into your service. They become another companion of yours, where they'll level with you.
Mm-hmm.
You can equip them, and at some point you retire, or you get retired.
Yeah.
Whatever. There is permadeath in the game.
Really?
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, and I've scratched the surface, and I've seen like YouTube videos of people who their whole point with the game is combat. They go into the editor and they make up scenarios. Okay, let's see what happens if we get like 100 mounted armored horse.
I think I've seen videos of that, like when they do like,
And then
yeah.
and then they'll go and they'll just do they'll do scenarios and see what's what. Some people are into it just for that, and some people get into it as it's almost like they become NPCs. They never really get much into the story of it. They enjoy riding around with their crew, and oh yeah, I mean, I used to run away from bands of looters if they were in double digits. I'd see like 10, 11, nope, I'm out of here, screw it.
Yeah.
Now I'm actually going and picking fights with armies. It's like, okay, here's an army with 80 troops. There's this guy. He's got 80, 79 people behind him. So he's going around with the number 80. And what do I got? I got 110. All right, I can take him. And when you ransom looters in the tavern district, I think you get like 5 gold for every one of those. If you take noble hostages, you can afford really good stuff after you ransom them.
I can imagine.
Yeah, because now you're not just talking to the guy at the tavern who's like a broker. He deals in people taken prisoner in combat. Now you're dealing with dad, and dad wants his kid back, and is willing to pay for it. So, and there's this, you can refuse. You can say, "Wow, 3,500, huh?" And and you're looking at your own purse. How much do I have? I got 2,000. He's offering me 3,500. Wow, that's all he's worth to you, huh? You can try and talk him up. He can try and talk you down, and then you can. If you say, "Well, no, I guess you don't want him back that bad," now you gotta follow through.
Oh boy.
And again, like the like other people that you defeat combat wise, if some of them you can take hostage, some of them might say, like when you first meet up with them, they might go, "Hey, we've heard of you. You've been doing a lot. You've been romper stomping around this area a lot. There's you, nobody's confused as to how this is going to end." Okay?
Yeah.
And we don't want to die. So make an offer and we'll fight for you instead. We'll stop waylaying, innocent travelers, and we'll work for you instead. And you can agree, and boom, your force just grew by that much. Or you can say, nah, the boys haven't had a good fight in a while. We're going to run you down. And I could probably babble on like this for another 2 hours, but I'm gonna stop talking about it there because I can tell I'm geeking out.
No,
I'm geeking out way too much.
But I mean, everyone should have something they really enjoy. I mean, it's good to have that. I don't want to say the word escape. I never like that term, but it's that thing they can really delve into and really have fun with.
Right.
No, that's cool. I have an appreciation for that level of intricacy.
You can gamble.
Of course
There's a few different you can get into. Sometimes you go to a castle city and they're having a tournament, so you can go sign me up, and you go and participate in the tournament, and just winning the tournament alone will get you a bucket of cash, maybe even a special item that you can equip. The one and only tournament that I've won, like I said, combat is tough. Mm-hmm. The one and only tournament that I actually won got me a pair of boots that are now the nicest thing that I own.
Are they still blazing?
I would, if I sold these boots, I could buy like 10 horses.
Oh wow!
yeah. So I think I'm going to be wearing these for like ever.
Yeah.
And your character appearance changes by how you equip. You can put different hats on them, different scarves, different tunics, different boots, gloves. Hat. I already said helmet. So in addition to the prize and everything, you can bet on yourself to win the tournament, and then even after the tournament purse. Now you get to go to, talk to the bookie, get your winnings there. Every tavern has a games master, or what do they call them? Games wars. There's something that they call them.
Yeah.
That they're just sitting there with a board game in front of them. And I think there's 3 different types of board games. They're pure strategy, no dice rolling, no luck involved, pure strategy. And these, I guess, are legit games that used to be, played for fun and profit back then.
Yeah.
But you can tell the guy who's sitting across the table from you, I want your best game. Or you can say, all right, I want take it easy on me. I'm learning, and you can play for fun all you want. But then you can maybe say, hey, how about we make it interesting? And if it's like, all right, let's put away, let's say 100. And if if you bet him 100, he's not going to be playing his best game. If you bet him 500, he's going to take no mercy.
Mm-hmm.
And I am pretty good with with the strategy games, so it's almost like a bonus 500 every time I go to a city because well, didn't stop at the tavern yet. Got to go there. What game they got? Okay, yeah, 500. It's a lock.
Very cool.
And yeah, oh man, I got to stop talking about her. I'm just gonna, my eyes are gonna roll back into my head. I'm actually gonna enter that world. So
well, I was gonna say we're coming up on 2 hours. Do we want to kind of wind down or change topics? Or
sure. I mean, are you you're gonna edit this down?
I'll do a couple little tweaks. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I'm honestly, when I used to do this, I would get there and I would sit there and I'd spend 3, 4, sometimes 5 hours editing things. I'm not looking to do that again. I'll slop on some music in the front, intros, outros, stuff like that. But
Cool.
I'm not going to sit there and let me find that. What was that little pop off? Take that. Nope, not going to do that. It's like how I said you can. It's like golf. You can spend as much money as you want to, or as much as you don't want to. It's kind of like that.
Yep.
I'm just going to take it nice and easy. I'll do a couple little things, but
So, do we want to talk about Washington?
you know what? Let's wait till after the inauguration. What we're going to do, like the 28th next.
Yeah,
Let's
2 weeks
let's
from
do
today.
let's do a retrospective. Let's do a retrospective from like January 1st.
Let's lay out the obvious. Nobody in their right mind thinks that what happened is a good thing.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. No, there is no justification for what took place there. I mean, you can be as mad as you want to be about either side of it, but what took place was.
I watched about an hour and a half of CNN because my coworker leans that way, and he had the TV on when I got there.
Yeah.
And as much dismissive stuff as I heard from Republicans, I heard just as much how do I say this? How do I say this politically? When one particular representative stated that Donald J. Trump had assembled and unleashed this group. Really?
I might go as far to say manipulated.
Yeah, again, nobody's saying what happened is a good thing.
Yeah.
All right? There's no reason to make it sound worse than it is.
You don't have to call it a private army. It's not a private army. It's rabble. It is what it is. It's rabble. It's honestly to a point. I think they're victimized, which is not to be condescending. I really don't mean to be, but I am not a Marxist, which means I'm going to say something Marxist. But the but
disclaimer.
But there. I mean, I think it was
the workers control the means of production.
Well, I think it wasn't Marx that said that religion is the opiate of the masses or of the people. Or something.
No, that was Nietzsche.
Nietzsche. I'm sorry. I'm not a Nietzscheist. How do you say that? But I mean, there is something to that.
I dare you to try and spell it.
Nitzche.
No,
Yeah, I was going off of the epic rap battle because there's that one part where he actually spells it in the song.
Oh yeah. Oh,
yeah.
East versus West philosophers.
Yes, that was a fantastic one.
That was good. You know what that reminded me of is old Monty Python skit about the philosophy department of the University of Woolloomooloo.
Oh man.
In Australia.
I was wondering.
Remember that one?
I haven't seen it in forever. I need to go back and look.
Everybody in the philosophy department's name is Bruce.
It
Yeah.
fits.
And they get a new professor from Great Britain.
Mm-hmm.
His name's Michael Baldwin. So he's like, Michael Baldwin Bruce, Michael Baldwin Bruce, and Michael Baldwin Bruce. Is your name not Bruce then? No, it's Michael. That's gonna cause confusion. Mind if I call you Bruce to keep? That's the meme worthy thing about that is there's no rule 6. That's where that comes from. When they're reading the rules, rule number 1, now poofters. Rule number 2, no member of this society is to maltreat the abos if anybody's watching.
Oh God.
Oh, abo, by the way,
Yeah.
in Australia is a horrible racial slur.
Oh wow. Really?
And rule 3, now poofters. Rule 4, this time I don't want to catch anybody not drinking. Rule 5, now poofters. Rule 6, there is no rule 6. Rule 7, no poofters. And it finishes with a song about how every philosopher is basically drunk.
Well.
Yeah.
I could probably see that. Yeah. Can't remember where I was going. Oh, the whole. Yeah. God. Washington.
Yeah, the whole thing. Yeah, the whole Marx.
But no. Okay. So like, I am not defending either side. There are morons and guilty people on both sides. But when it comes to that, what took place, he did not rally an army and unleash it. He did pander to his base and encourage the possibility that maybe he was sent by God and maybe the lecture was stolen and all this stuff.
What he said was inflammatory.
Yes. He said it was inflammatory. Should he be held accountable? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Five people died so far.
I don't have a problem with anybody saying that he should be held accountable. I think he should be held accountable. My problem is with the people who say, now we see the violence that's inherent on the right. And like, excuse me, where the hell have you been last couple of years? I mean, how many government buildings across the country have been, had their windows kicked in and firebombed?
Yeah.
What about
new.
what?
And that's just
what about?
Each side's gonna sit there and point fingers at the other side. It's like, guys, you morons, you're both doing this.
Like I said an hour and a half ago, pot, kettle, have you guys met?
Yeah, really. And neither side can see it. Neither side can see it. They're the victim. They're always the victim.
Bloody difficult being a pragmatically centrist libertarian in today's climate, because
that's a mouthful. I'm just unaffiliated, but yeah.
half of the people think I'm a monster, the other half think I'm a pussy, depending on who you're talking to.
That's
Everybody in my new department at work seems, well, not everybody, all the old guard.
Well, you gotta take a side, man. You gotta make a stand.
Yeah,
I am. You're both morons.
When I walk into the break room, the TV is either on CNN or Fox News, depending on who got there first, and I can't stand either one of them.
God, they're horrible.
Here's the thing: I force myself to watch them both because I want to see. All right,
I understand that. I do, because you have to see what they're saying.
What's going on in this bubble? What's going on in this echo chamber? What's going on? What And I mean, I've taken the test. Where I know where I am on that chart, on that graph. The graph where you've got the origin, at 0, 0.
Look, I get it. You're a Ravenclaw, okay?
And on the on the horizontal, it's going 0 through 10 in both directions, and on this side it's liberal, on this side it's conservative. But then on the vertical, it's going 0 through 10 in both directions, and up here it's authoritarian, and down here it's libertarian. Mm-hmm. And every time I take the test, I'm like just barely one tick and then some over on the conservative side. Mm-hmm. And then I'm down at about like a 3.5 libertarian.
Yeah.
Right.
I got you.
And so, I walk into this new department, and half the room thinks I'm a monster because of who I voted for, and the other half thinks I'm a pussy because of why I voted for him.
Hmm.
And I have never thought that a Donald Trump presidency represents a victory for the right in any way. I consider it a monumental failure of the left. To
Yes,
you know,
the reason why Donald Trump won is because the Democrats put Hillary Clinton up there, and
yeah,
Hillary Clinton is unelectable. She is
get a
a
better candidate. And you know what?
yes.
She shouldn't have been there in the first place if the DNC played fair, because the way I mean, she was supposed to be there in 2008. Barack
Oh,
Obama came out of freaking nowhere.
I
You know how
remember
good she
that.
was. I mean, you could read it in her face.
Oh, she was not happy.
Every line in her forehead said, "God, it's my turn. This was supposed to be my turn.
Yes, yes, yes,
I
yes.
waited long enough. This was supposed to be my turn."
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Barack Obama came out of nowhere, and the DNC said, "Sorry, Hill, we're not going to let that happen again." You know,
Yeah, yeah.
so and then guess what? The tide was going towards Bernie,
Yes, it was. I do.
and then
It has
all of a
gone toward
sudden,
him twice. It has gone
and
toward him.
then yeah, and then all of a sudden, she starts getting debate questions early.
Mm-hmm.
They start. It's like you can't even let your own constituents decide who. I mean, it's that's not that's an oligarchy. That's not democratic.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
You
it
know,
is. It's very much
and
puppet theater.
I'm not pleased at all on what's going on the other side of the aisle with the RNC,
Oh
because
my
I
god!
mean, how the hell did you let
A
you
game
know
show, a freaking game show
yeah,
host.
how do you let clown shoes like that
Yeah,
get all the way up to the top?
bankrupted a casino. A casino always wins. A house always wins. And he,
So I don't consider what I did on
I understand voting.
at 2016. I didn't vote for Trump as much as I voted against Hillary,
Mhm.
and I think the way I put it is, is as far as just vocalizing my disgust with the
Mhm.
situation, is that looking at a list of things and trying to figure out, okay, which one of these sucks the least.
This is not
That's
how.
something that you should have at a deli.
Yeah,
That's something you should have looking at a movie theater marquee,
yeah.
and think, all right, which one of these films is going to anger me? Is going to waste the least amount of my time.
Mhm.
I mean, I got a whole afternoon to kill. I'm going to watch a movie, but which one of these do I think sucks the least? That's where that belongs,
Yeah.
not on a ballot.
No, not on a ballot that we're stuck with for 4 years.
Yeah,
And it has the potential to irrevocably impact the future. I mean,
and I have voted for Democrats that won. I
mhm.
have voted for Democrats that lost. I
Yeah.
have voted for Republicans that won, and I have voted for Republicans that lost. I've been voting since 1988,
Mhm. I don't have any.
and
I don't have any problem with anybody who votes for a party one way or another for either social or fiscal or moral reasons. I don't. That I mean, you have to vote what you believe, but you should be able to justify what you believe. And if it's the thing that really burns me up is when they and the Republicans have got the market cornered on this when they bring religion and God into it, and they won't say that they're God's candidate, but they won't stop you when you do say it. That kind of stuff.
yeah,
That right there is like that's like moral treason because it is you can't
separate. Church and
yeah
state are separate.
it should be, but I mean at least in this area the majority of the churches are very right leaning. Um, and I love my family, but my family's like this. I mean, they stop short of being like of drinking the Kool Aid,
Yeah,
but it's like my brother. He does. I don't know how to describe it. He works for some church planting, almost marketing type stuff. Um, and he and I we don't agree on a lot of things when it comes to this, but he's come out and said things like, "Man, he hates what Trump has done to the church affiliation stuff around here." And I'm like, "Yeah, you should." You should, because he's taking it by the reins, um, and
I,
he's got him in a headlock.
I have
Even
never
now.
once, I have never once in the, you know, I think the first time I ever heard his name was when he came out with his book Art of the Deal, and that was back in the '80s,
Mhm.
early '80s. I have never once looked at Donald Trump and thought, "Oh, that's a churchman." That, yeah,
Yeah, no, but
that guy's living for Jesus, definitely.
well, it's the thing. It's like socialism, and clutching their pearls. What do we do? He's like, no, okay, calm down. No one's trying to go take us to 1930s Germany. Um, it's
No, they're trying to take us to 1940s Russia.
there we go. No, but it's
These kids that all you have to do is disagree with them, and they call you a Nazi.
oh yeah. What is that? No, we can have disagreements. That's
And
what debate is.
they want to put the red flag with the white circle and the black swastika because that's a symbol of hate, right? They want to label you with that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they're out there waving flags that are red flags that have the gold hammer and sickle on there.
Yeah, no, that's not a good idea either. That's a terrible
And
way.
um, if you want to talk about the greatest villains of the 20th century, I mean, Hitler's definitely top five, but if 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 the deciding factor is body count,
Yeah,
he's like a distant third.
yeah.
And that flag that you're out there waving, that's the symbol that Stalin was more than happy to kill about 30 million people
Yeah, no,
for
that's
that.
yeah. The whole
That ideology that you're promoting is
yeah, no, it is modern barbarism because I mean it's just it's no, it doesn't work. We have to find something that
there are few statements that are more arrogant than when one of these kids says, "Well, the only reason that socialism and communism have never worked is because they haven't actually been done correctly."
no, that's not right. I mean,
That is so freaking arrogant because you're saying, "Oh, if you were the one that did it,
no, communism doesn't work because of human nature.
right?"
Jamestown, the first settlement here in this continent, European settlement, was communistic, and it lasted about, I don't know, 6 months till people started starving to death because nobody wanted to work when they didn't have to work. It doesn't work. It just doesn't work. Human nature prevents it from working. But you can take some of those ideals and be like, hey, I would like to see. Don't let me finish this. I would like to consider the option of a universal basic income only in that it prevents homelessness. I'm not saying we're gonna give everybody free money,
Mm-hmm.
but we're also in the system where we're giving out trillions to big businesses in a pandemic where they don't really necessarily need it. I mean,
There's that B word.
but
Yeah.
oh yeah, I know that. Yeah, and any good system can be put in place. Someone's going to screw it up. Again, when we're dealing with people making moral choices, they don't always they don't always make the moral choice.
Well, we started off with a Churchill quote. I think we're going to end with one.
Fire away.
Uh, shit, I can't remember if this is actually Churchill
So
or
we
not.
run out of other people's money.
No. Um, the quote I'm thinking of is that democracy
Mm-hmm.
is the worst form of government, unless you consider all the other forms of government.
I like that. I
Yeah,
like that.
and that's true because I mean, the the people who founded this country were in no stretch of the definition outlaws.
Oh yeah.
They
Oh,
they
treasonous.
had they had the blood of their government and their former countrymen on their hands. They recognized government as an evil,
Mm-hmm.
a necessary evil,
Unfortunately, because if you
a
don't have that, you got
necessary evil,
chaos.
but evil just the same, right?
Yeah.
because the alternative is anarchy, and
Mm-hmm.
nobody wants that except for the anarchists.
Yeah, and they only want that to a point, and then they get upset when they get beat up
Oh
or
yeah,
they lose their
oh yeah,
stuff.
yeah. Everybody's yelling to defund the police until
That's
you
the,
got to call
that
911.
is the stupidest solution.
Yeah,
That is the stupidest non-solution that people have tried to back. Like, no, what are you talking about? Uh, Reform, yes. Regular like more training, more psychological
yeah.
evaluations, and more removal when necessary. None of this slip them off to the other side and just bring them back in a week or two. No, no, no. If they
There's
are presenting,
this guy that trains police and also trains Navy SEALs.
mm-hmm.
Shit, I can't remember his name for the life of me, but he
Hey,
made a very good point in that people that work in
mm-hmm.
law enforcement officers, okay, they should be spending 20% of their time in
is
training.
that is the guy from a Rogan show? Is it Eddie Bravo, or is that the other guy?
Yeah, he's ripped.
Yeah,
He's this huge freaking ripped dude. Yeah,
yeah,
but basically, and split it up however you want. You're gonna go for an hour and a half at the end of every workday and do the training, or more likely, out of every 5 days that you work, one of those days should be in training, and
yeah,
they should be funded accordingly.
yeah,
It is too easy to become a cop nowadays,
yeah,
and
yeah. It is. Um, yeah, no,
yeah,
it is. Yeah, it's like what, 6 weeks in the academy, and then here's your gun in your car.
here's your gun.
Yeah, no,
Go handle situations that honestly was never intended for law enforcement officers to get involved
that's the
with.
other part of it. Yeah, we've got them taking care
They're
of all
supposed
this
to
other
be catching
stuff.
crooks.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
no, that's crazy, man. And I'm not a police apologist either. You know, there are some bad cops out there.
there's bad people. Cops are
Exactly.
people. Bad people.
Yeah, like you said, it's too easy to become a cop, and it's too
Yeah,
easy for a bad
name a
person.
thing. If that thing is made up of people, some of them are going to be assholes.
Hmm. Congress. I hey,
100.
term limits, dude. Term
Yeah.
limits. This 40 years in the Congress? Are you kidding me? What is that? I tell you what, we'll get it all
Uh,
figured out by next time.
yeah.
We're just straightening it all out.
We'll solve all the problems. This this episode will, or no, not this one. We're going to solve it next time. Yeah.
Yes, next
Next,
time. We'll
yeah.
figure out
Next
some more.
episode will end up uh, in the Smithsonian as the model of the the brighter future, the utopia.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was it Dennis Miller said that um, if you think that it's the natural state of humanity that all peoples from all backgrounds are going to get along together, then you're living in a fantasy world full of elves and fairies. And guess what? The elves and fairies don't get along either. They hate each other.
That's not
When the
bad.
elves talk about fairies, they call them flying Tinkerbell Nancy boys. And when the fairies talk about elves, they call them dandelion munching, rainbow humping suckpots. You can subdivide the human race down so that instead of 8 billion
Mm-hmm.
people, you got 4 billion pairs of people, and they won't get along with each other either.
Well, the thing is, like, taking the U.S. for this visualization, they say it was like, maybe 200 years. Um, Skin tone will be very marginalized, be very
We're gonna look like margarine.
yes,
Margarine.
yes. No,
We're
it'd be very
gonna be margarinized.
what am I trying to say? There was once a statement made or an observation that given enough time.
Oh, I remember a Time magazine cover
Yeah, yeah. They
20 years ago showing the American woman of the future, and
yeah.
basically they took it was they used computers to make an aggregate face
Thank you.
from
That's what I'm trying to say.
like 100 million
So
different
so
faces.
give us to that time when we get there and everyone looks the same.
Hmm.
Great. There's still going to be, well, they don't talk like me, or they talk
Mm-hmm.
funny, or they drive a weird car, or they drive a weird flying car,
Mm-hmm.
or they're from the wrong neighborhood, or at
Yeah.
the very least, they pull for the wrong sports team. I mean,
They cut their spaghetti into small pieces and
yeah,
they twirl it around a fork.
yeah.
You
So
know,
I mean, it's one of those things where like, for a better society, it has to be a conscious effort. We have to want to try and get along. We have to want to try and understand one another. And I know that's very
people
idealistic, but
people are individuals,
mhm.
not categories.
Yeah, yeah, that's right there. Any category that can be,
It is pointless to try and divide people up into categories because once you've done that, you now have to subdivide those categories into other categories, and then guess what? We don't stop there either.
hmm
You know?
yeah.
Well, on that happy note,
Yes, let's call it. Let's call
so,
it.
so for January 14th, 2021, that has been Jason,
That's been Pete.
and this has been the JPEX podcast.
Good night, everybody.